spawn that myself, and you have to be in a very specific spot for that to happen. And I think you have to do like that little like backwards backflip thing for it to have happen as well. So it's very counterintuitive and awkward. So if you're not comfortable doing, I can understand not doing it. I don't think that's a slight by any means.
Sure. So Arcus moving into 6-2 here. This is arguably one of the most difficult screens in the entire game, if I'm being honest. You see Arcus using this swag star in a really neat way to kind of protect himself as much as possible, both from enemies and from hammer patterns. Did a really good job. He got hung up a little bit, but we can see him grab the spin slash and just kind of make quick work of the jetpack ninjas. And we'll see Retro Runner kind of move into the screen and do the same thing, opting for the what we call the Fabricator General Star here. And you'll see how that does such a good job of protecting him as he moves through otherwise like really treacherous amount of enemies and projectiles.
So Arcus had no difficulty this time with the first screen of 6-2, looking very clean, very spry. No issues whatsoever here. About to wrap up here the exit boost on this one, and does so. Moving into 6-3, Retro Runner with some amazing climbs up that long ladder, crisp
nice
and
climbs.
clean. Love to see it. Into Hell Hallway, Arcus into 6-3, firmly in front here, and has to maintain that momentum as best as he possibly can. Just going to come down to those clean boss fights. But based on the trajectory of what we're seeing here, Arcus is favored to win this round, and we'll be tied up 1-1, which you would also love to see. Pretty good.
Yeah, Retro Runner caught an unfavorable hammer bro pattern there at the end of 6-2. We got what we call the Moonwalker, which made for a really bad exit boost, and he missed it. So there's going to be a kind of a sizable time loss there, kind of extend Arcus's current lead, which is unfortunate. But once again, I think Retro Runner's got the best boss kills in the biz currently. And as we've seen earlier tonight, anything can happen with these really aggressive shrimp patterns on the demon fight. So we'll see what happens as Arcus moves into the... Oh, Arcus picked up Swag Star, so he has to slash cancel down the Clown Nose. Going to lose a little bit of time there.
A tiny thing, but I mean, those spins through those areas here, this game really wants you to lose spin slash, because the final 4 candles all contain some sort of sub weapon, none of which are spin slash. He grabbed the one out of the middle candle there, so that, like you said, will be a small loss there.
And if I'm being honest, Arcus's Jakio fight not great. It's not going great. This is a good opportunity for Retro to kind of get his foot back in the door here if he can get a nice plate kill.
Especially if Arcus opts to kill the tail once again, and Retro Runner opts to just go for it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, so Retro missed the plate. Retro missed the plate by 1 health, and Arcus is going for the tail kill. He actually takes a knockback on the tail. This is going to be close. Ooh, Arcus's match on the heart was really good.
Nice jump rope there from Retro Runner. For those that don't know, the tail's hitbox is not always active. It's only when it's kind of like out, like mostly outward, and you can actually jump rope that tail, and that's what kind of the basis of the rich kill is. But well played from Arcus. We got our 1-1 on this one. We'll get the confirmation on the times to make that official. But from what we saw here from the seamless sync early on, this is looking good. So hang tight, folks. We'll get the times for you.
Yeah, that was a lot closer than it looked. The Retro Runner did an incredible job of catching up there at the end. You know, that was what we talked about, just those little time saves, just avoiding a knockback here or there. And honestly, the boss kills. You know, Arcus accidentally picked up the Swag Star on the final screen right before the boss fights, had to slash cancel down the Clown Nose, and then had, you know, kind of a rough Jakio. I didn't see how many cycles it was, but Retro was 1 HP away from a plate kill, and, you know, he was just kind of nipping right at Arcus's heels at that point. Could have easily stolen that one.
Well, timing here from our judges, it's looking like a 12:15 for Arcus on that one to a 12:21 from Retro Runner. So only 6 seconds apart there. Even if Retro Runner got the plate kill, I don't think that would be enough to surmount 6 seconds worth. So that being said, that one well done for Arcus. That death was just, unfortunately, it was not race ending. Retro Runner came back as well as possible. Just Arcus didn't make any other egregious mistakes. The boss kills were definitely a little slow, especially for his standard there, but still enough to get the win on this one. So taking us to 1-1.
Yeah, and I love that. It's more Ninja Gaiden, which I'm very excited to see. And I'm glad that we saw you know, Retro Runner kind of maintain composure and perform consistently, even after taking what would otherwise be a really frustrating death. And, you know, especially closing that distance, like you just said, you know, and that was something I wanted to highlight when it happened. But, yeah, I mean, taking a death and still finishing 6 seconds away from your deathless opponent is an incredible sign of speed. So I'll be interested to see if Retro can kind of carry that momentum into the next race.
So here's another thing for you folks. If anyone is joining us right now, this is not the actual finals. We have another match after this with Knucklebuster versus Beer Full of Belly for the actual finals. This is actually for third place, and this is a best of 5 match, as is the finals, which I'm really looking forward to. So looking ahead there, Finn, what are you thinking for KB versus BFOB?
It's hard to say, Retrophile. We talked about this a lot earlier. When I came into the event tonight, I knew anyone could go home as the champion, as the fastest ninja. And I would be happy to see either of them take it down. I think Knucklebuster has been incredibly impressive this entire event. He is the low percent and the pacifist world record holder for a reason. Dude put up some of the fastest and most consistent times of the group stages, and I think he deserves to take it home.
Well, speaking about taking it home, here we go. We are in race 3 in this best of 5 here for Arcus versus the Retro Runner. Again, nothing but respect and camaraderie across the board here, and also Ninja Gaiden being played at a very, very high level overall. But glad to see it. Stage 1, once again, we're hoping for things to be uneventful. One of the major things right here is Tyson, and Tyson cooperates for both, so we're keeping the sync nice and good here. Oh, looks like Retro Runner kind of falling down there a smidge instead of going the up and over route, but that's okay. It's going to be minor across the board. And here we go into the Barbarian in the bar. I don't know why this place is cleared out, Finn. I want to know the story behind this, why this is the only person that's in it. Did he wreck the joint? Everybody ran out? It just seems very odd to me.
I was going to say, Retrophile, if I show up to an all-purple pub and there is one enormous guy in the bar swinging an axe back and forth, I might find somewhere else to get a drink for the evening.
I don't know, Finn. It could be a nice show to check out. You know, if you bought some tickets for it, it's an art piece, and art is in the eye of the beholder.
Sounds more like a performance art thing, which isn't personally for me, but I guess I can see the appeal. Speaking of performance art, though, Retro Runner's climbs of that long ladder were really, really nice. And this is what I was talking about previously. I think a good indication of how well Retro is playing is how crispy and clean his wall climbs are. And right now he's looking really smooth.
Yeah, I believe Arcus may have taken a knockback or something in the first screen there, because the disparity there that we're seeing, I don't think was entirely based on quick climbs. So it just seems very odd to me that there's that big of a gap when Arcus looks like he was a smidge ahead.
Yeah, it looks like we probably missed a knockback. I'd say Arcus is probably a good second behind currently, and that tracks as far as the math is concerned. But both players here utilizing their own variations of the swag star strategy. Both have moderate free falls, and once again, this is a very, very minimal lead that Arcus could easily close if given any sort of opportunity.
And that's exactly how Ninja Gaiden goes sometimes. I mean, just small things like that. I mean, we're seeing things, but it's still very early. However, getting a hammer but not falling in. So fortunately for Arcus there, keeping things close. But just some minor knockbacks here. I mean, this is giving Retro Runner a bit of a gap to work with, a bit of a cushion, which is kind of nice. But still very, very early on, still a lot in front of us here. But Retro Runner trying to get the momentum back. Arcus is going to be the one carrying it into this one and trying to stay out in front and keep that pace.
Yeah, and as we've talked about previously, hammers of that nature can be incredibly frustrating because not only do you suffer the knockback and the time loss, but when you're in a race scenario like this and you don't have the the pleasure or the opportunity to reset, you have to continue to play. And in this game, there is a global timer which will dictate a lot of the enemy pattern RNG. And so when you're in these race scenarios and you take those hammers that you would normally reset on in a PB attempt, they start to put you on some really, really strange enemy movement and projectile patterns that can be difficult to predict and adapt to. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Arcus start to take additional knockbacks because of these unfamiliar enemy movement and projectile patterns.
And this is where coming in and having that race and also game experience, knowing how to handle them as best you can. Some patterns you just can't because you're kind of committed to what you're going to do in the first place. But having that knowledge and trying to adapt on the fly, and that's a good thing. And that maybe that plays into your prediction for KB, having that low percent and pacifist strategy to work with. We'll see that in place, but we know he's been playing extremely well. You know, BFOB has also been in the community for a long time, has lots of experience. I'm looking forward to seeing how that one plays out. But playing out here is a standard kill for Retro Runner. Arcus getting a setup as well, also getting a standard kill. Very, very nice from both of them going into stage 4.
Yeah, this is exactly what you want to see. You know, other than one or two knockbacks on Arcus's side, I think both runners are playing exceptionally well at the moment. And I think the standard kill is a good litmus test to discern whether or not that's the case. Be interested to see if Retro or Arcus opt to go for the bat boost here in the middle of 4-1. It is nice. Retro Runner gets it. Let's see if Arcus can do the same. Nice. Both runners getting it. So, you know, no difference there, but yeah, both runners did pick up a nice second or so as far as time save.
I gotta say, this bird boost here at the very top of the ladder, I think is very scary. I mean, we see some people kind of throttle back their quick climbs a little bit and kind of wait rather than going for it, because if you take that bird boost in the wrong way, you actually get flung off the ladder and die.
Yeah, I really don't like that bird, if I'm being honest, Retrophile. It's one of my least favorite enemies in the game. I never got to a level with the game where I needed to take that boost. So yeah, I always just let him hit me and then, you know, slashed him once I dismounted from the ladder. And I think that unless you're going for world record attempts, that's probably advisable, because that enemy can be really, really problematic, like you said, if you were to miss.
Birds are jerks. That is the universal constant in pretty much all of video games. And obviously there's some marked differences that are out there, but in Ninja Gaiden, especially Ninja Gaiden 1, they are winged demons, and they are here to take runs away from you. That being said, we are into 4-3 once again. We saw some weird stuff from Arcus on this side. Well, I expect him he'll be able to tighten that up, which he does here, getting things as we would expect with those spin slashes. Retro Runner got a few seconds lead right now, but again, stage 5 looming large, and that has proven to be a pivotal stage, especially in 5-1, over what we've seen this evening in general, just from weird moments overall.
Yeah, Arcus corrected both of the mistakes that he had made last time we were in 4-3, so you love to see it. He was able to hit both the spin slash and the slash cancel that he had missed previously, and prevented, you know, the Retro Runner from kind of furthering the current lead that he has. Both of them move into 4-4 and take down what Fab refers to as the doggos with relative ease, a single spin slash, dealing damage on every frame, just melting through the boss's HP. But now, Retrophile, we are on to the rage stage, and this is where most people would say the run really begins. And once again, there is a lot of health, ninpo management, and pit avoidance that is going to come into play moving forward. And I'd be interested to see if we have any repeats from previous.
It's really interesting to note the way that Ninja Gaiden is kind of like backloaded. It's kind of lopsided with how it has its difficulty and also its pacing, because we started the stage around the 6:30 mark, and this is like, you know, 11 minutes, 12-minute run, that sort of thing. So almost half the game, the vast majority of it, is contained within Act 5 and Act 6, and they're just brutal marathons you have to make through. Arcus getting lucky though, not falling back into the pit on that one, but taking an unexpected knockback.
Retro Runner took a death on a wall climb. He started a ladder transition and missed the re-grab and fell to his death, unfortunately. So that's going to be a really, really costly mistake. No spin slash for him.
That is going to pay dividends for Arcus. So it's kind of interesting that you kind of did that. I was looking over at Arcus's screen when he took the knockback, didn't even notice the death on Retro's side, but now the absence of spin slash truly at play and going to have some difficulties. You have to wonder how comfortable he is. He doesn't run other categories, low percent. So how comfortable is he going to be without spin slash going through this? When's the last time he's done this?
Right. Yeah, I could see the stage routing being kind of scary here. I will say the boss fight is relatively free. Mouth, even though he looks super cool, is a bit of a pushover. He has really, really weak knees. You kind of can just slash away at them. But yeah, as you can see here, some of these screens are really, really treacherous with the amount of enemies and the hammer bros. Honestly, Retro really impressing me with his movement through the screen. Still hits the SP boost. That was a really, really impressive screen. I think a lot of that was just kind of improv, if I'm being honest. Oh, and we see him take a damage boost off of the last gunner. He is kind of cruising right now.
He's done a really great job, all things considered. I mean, this is really fantastic. Very, very good, and just kudos to Retro Runner being able to kind of put that together. But honestly, I can't tell you the last time I've seen him go through 5-3 basically without spin slash based on that. Because I mean, who expects to die on that ladder? But that being said, Arcus getting through there with the spin slash, retaining the lead. And Finn, can you explain to me, why does the shield not work for Malth? I mean, he's got this big tower shield in front of him, and you can just slash him down like it does nothing anyway.
I don't know, because Ryu's sword is apparently made of cottage cheese, so it's not really adding up to me. You know, I thought, you know, assuming worst case, Mouth's shield is made out of wood, but apparently it cannot stand up to the strength of Ryu's cottage cheese sword, unfortunately for him.
It's just a painted paper bag shield. Got it. Very good. I mean, if you throw some cottage cheese through a paper bag, it's going to work anyway. That being said, all philosophical debates aside, 6-2 for Arcus, and also Rich Runner joining him as well. Arcus having some difficulty here before, but has cleaned this first screen up very, very nicely, getting back onto his pace and what you would expect to see. And very, very good. And we're getting into the long ladder climbs that we'll see how they do with that. Retro Runner grabbing that Jetpack Ninja boost as well. Avoiding the hammer on Arcus' side. Very good. Very nice climbs there too. They're probably some of the best climbs I've seen him pulled out here in this match. So trying to run ahead as best as he possibly can to get this to 2-1. Again, guys, this is a best of 5. So if Arcus or Retro wins this one here, it's not over yet. We have another one, so we do have a chance to take this to a game 5. Very exciting. 6-3. Here we go.
Yeah, Retro Runner getting the exit boost. He had to kind of make some minor adjustments there. Once again, got a pretty sketchy enemy pattern and had to kind of just spin out of it and clear the way. I've been keeping a close eye and trying to see if, you know, Retro Runner can kind of close the gap here, and he's doing a pretty good job so far. We kind of saw him get a little hung up there on that axe boost on the previous screen, but unfortunately for him, Arcus not really making any mistakes at this point in the run. Arcus looking really, really good, really, really clean movement, and yeah, it would take another, you know, big shakeup here in the final boss fights for Retro Runner to snatch this one away.
Yeah, I think this could be insurmountable at this point here. Obviously, Arcus, we've seen, has been struggling with Jackio tonight, oddly enough. But that being said here, I believe that he should be good to go. That unexpected death when Retro was out in front in 5-3 definitely seems to have been the pivotal moment in this one. And it's got to be really difficult. You have to execute for 12 minutes on end without issue to really maintain. And if you make an error, kind of have to just kind of deal with it as best as you possibly can. Arcus taking this very safe. Here comes the plate kill. Wait a minute.
Yeah, see, Arcus struggling again with the Jaquio fight.
No plate kill there. That would have been the moment right there that Retro Runner did have a chance at it. And unfortunately had some difficulty, did not get the turnaround. For those that don't know, the plate kill requires some very, very particular and tight movement to pull off, even if Retro Runner is considered the best at it.
Yeah, it's essentially a 1.5 cycle Jaquio fight, which is incredibly skill intensive. But we see Arcus here with a really nice demon kill. He's able to take it down over the Retro Runner. Going to put him up 2-1 in our third place, I guess, semifinals match. But kudos to Arcus for taking that one down. Really clean gameplay from him for the most part. I'd like to see him clean up the Jaquio fight a little bit if he's going to, you know, be able to win the best of 5. But Retro Runner suffered an unfortunate death there. But if I'm being honest, you know, really it was the mouth fight. Not having spin slash on the mouth fight was, you know, what really cost him, because his movement through the rest of 5-3 without spin slash was really impressive.
Well, let me throw this out there for some food for thought for you there, Finn. The official times that came back on this race, Arcus 12:05, the Retro Runner 12:09. He opted to skip the tail this time and just decided to jump in there. If he would have gone for the tail, or if Retro would have closed out that plate kill there, could have been an entirely different narrative. They're knocking at the door of us having to bust out the frame counter for this one. It has been neck and neck and very close, but like you said, yeah, 2-1 here in Arcus's favor, but a mere 4 seconds apart. Retro Runner keeps getting these very strange deaths that are holding him back. Just out of nowhere, oddly enough. But and now Arcus is on match point for this coming match that we're having come up. Again, best of 5. If Retro Runner wins this, we go to a game 5 for this one. It's going to be great.
Yeah, what's crazy is Retro is putting up these times with deaths, right? You know, he's finishing just 5 or so seconds behind Arcus and with a death. Dude is just going so incredibly fast, popping a tire and careening into the wall. And it's so unfortunate. I would love to see him just be able to get through one cleanly because, we've seen him put up the fastest time of the tournament. He put up an 11:41 against Lane Rainer. And I think that he is definitely capable of reproducing those times in this environment. But yeah, he's just had a string of bad luck and misfortune with some of these very, very strange and peculiar deaths are adding up. Once again, I think his movement through the rest of 5-3 without spin slash was really, really clean. And if it wasn't for the mouth fight, lacking spin slash for that engagement, I think that was the difference. That was well worth the 5 or so seconds that he was behind Arcus at that point. So if he can do that without dying, I think he can easily take this next one down.
Very good assessment across the board there, Finn. Very, very good. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen, how the narrative is going to play out. But I think that we're all pretty happy just to see that this match happened, even if it didn't happen in the way that we expect it would. But it is a great primer for us to all kick back and relax and enjoy and appreciate the level that we have. And this one feels, again, the air for this one feels a lot more casual for what it is, because we're going for third here. The KB versus BFOB, that's going to have some thick, with like 7 C's air hanging around it for that one. That was going to be really tough. Even if there's no animosity between the runners there, I mean, you're going for the win here at this point. You get to carve your name as the first NRL champion, and that's something to hang your hat on.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see how that pans out. I haven't really got to see much Beerful in this event, so I'm interested to see how he's performing, what his strategy selection looks like, and how it stacks up to what has so far kind of been the unstoppable force. Hasn't really been talked about as much, but that is Knucklebuster and his performance thus far in the tournament. So I'm very excited to see that, but I don't want to take anything away from the moment that we're currently enjoying. I love that we're getting to see the two best, I think, to ever do it at this point in Arcus and the Retro Runner. I think everybody wanted to see this match. We're not quite getting it in the way that we expected, but I think we are getting our money's worth here. Arcus up 2-1 in a best of 5. And like I said, if Retro can avoid an unfortunate death, I think we'll be able to see our game 5.
I think this might be the one. Fingers crossed, knock on wood, and say your prayers on this one. Hopefully things go well, that we can get our game 5, and that this match truly deserves. Let's be honest here. Seeing an Arcus Retro Runner going to game 5 would be an amazing thing. That you couldn't even script it if you wanted to at the end of the day. But we'll see how game 4 treats us on this one. We'll be getting things ready to go on this side as well. But this has been great so far, and very glad and very honored to be here alongside you, Finn.
Yeah, you too. I'm glad that you were able to do this. I know you've had a long day with the Salsa Shack Mario Kart GP earlier today, so I'm glad that you were still able to join us. But I think we are very, very close to getting started here. We've got the 10-second countdown from Fabricator General. Both Arcus and the Retro Runner are readied up, and we should be underway here momentarily.
Looking forward to it. 8.5 hours of streaming would not keep me away from the NRL. I wouldn't miss this for the world.
All right, here we go. About to kick this off. Both runners moving into 1-1. We've talked about this a lot this evening. 1-1, relatively uneventful, except for when Arcus gets hung up in the Three Stooges. Wow,
he knockback.
This is what's happening. That was a very peculiar start from Arcus.
Welcome to Bizarro World, man. Sometimes stage 1, because usually after a single reset or a single mistake, you reset in the process. So getting those two things, just getting hung up, just kind of just going just at the end of the day for this one. But yeah.
Some people in chat saying that Arcus is intentionally throwing to go to game 5. I don't have a problem with that. That's totally fine.
Truly a man, a cowboy of the people, trying to give us what we want here. But stage 1 is not going to be the pivotal moment, or maybe it will be. Who knows? Let's see what happens in about. I don't know. Let's talk about.
Yeah, I think we've seen some of the races come down to less than a couple knockbacks. So yeah, I mean, maybe bite your tongue. You never know. We'll see what the timers say when we get through the Act 6 bosses, but. It's possible getting hung up on the Three Stooges at the beginning of 1-1 could be the deciding factor speaking of which, Retro Runner going for the giddy up there, gets a little hung up himself, kind of gives away a little bit of the advantage that Arcus had given him from 1-1.
Also, Arcus opting to flip and flop instead of climb straight up the ladder on that one there. So pretty quick and easy for what it's worth. Let's Retro Run with the slight advantage here going into 2-2. And we talk about the global timer a lot. Both of them are going to be on vastly different cycles here. So curious to see what the hammers are going to be coming here forward.
Yeah, Retro should be on a pretty typical pace for him at this point, I would think. Arcus, I have no idea. Like you said, we're in Bizarro world already at this point. He's taken a couple costly knockbacks, so I think the patterns that he's accustomed to running against are probably out the window at this point. That being said, we're picking up this fire shield here that makes this screen and the beginning of the next screen relatively free. See both runners, move into this bat boost here. Arcus catches it backwards. Retro Runner has to stall out a little bit, but catches a more optimal forward boost.
What is this race, by the way? Like the Retro Runner just getting bullied in the corner there with bullets and guys jumping. Like this is the Bizarro race. I'm curious to see if that continues to manifest in strange and interesting ways throughout, or if we're going to finally get this back on the rails.
I'd be here for it as long as they continue to stay relatively synced up. If both runners are experiencing, really weird circumstances, then I'm into it. If it's just one person getting picked on, then I'm just going to feel bad for them. But Retro Runner and Arcus kind of both getting the raw deal of it at this point. Let's see if they can both, maneuver through 3-1 with ease. We've seen this screen, pose some challenges for runners in previous races. Occasionally people will have trouble with the star throw here, or we saw KB one time, I think, just didn't pick up the Art of the Fire Wheel after it had dropped. So let's see if Go ahead.
So I don't know if you saw the railgun bird that Retro Runner had to jump over in the process. What is happening?
Like I said, you get on that strange global timer and the enemy movement and projectile pattern RNG starts to become really, really unfamiliar. And that's why I had such a frustrating time running this game. I didn't handle it very well. It's very difficult to adjust to, especially when your sword doesn't work sometimes, and just be very, very frustrating. And I think that's why, I think Arcus's skill set is so incredibly valuable for a game like Ninja Gaiden.
Agreed. So very strange moments on this one overall. Retro Runner going to gain a little bit of time back, going with the faster save strat as opposed to the complete save strats. From Arcus' side, having some difficulty with Massacre. A synchronized kill, though. Very, very nice. That's going to even us back very nicely.
Yeah, Retro Runner's Massacre standard kill percentage has been really, really high, at least today. I think especially throughout the majority of the event, which is a good thing, because I think I've seen him struggle with it a fair amount, during any percent PB attempts. So it's good to see that consistency there for something that I know can kind of be frustrating for him. And I see him having to regularly go back and do save state practice on and kind of re-examine, am I going to go for the standard kill or the quicker kill or the Edo kill? And to see him finding some comfort and consistency in that is a good sign, I think.
So we were frame for frame there. That was a textbook moment right there. Just that little moment in time, seeing the climbs, both of them quick climbing up, but Retro Runner's quick climbs too strong and actually pulling ahead at the very end of that screen. Very nice to see that.
Yeah, Retro Runner, I think probably the best climbs in the biz at this point. Like we've talked about before, some of the long ladders, you can set your watch to it. He's usually good for 8, and if he does hit the 8, he's playing well. But 4-2 here. Sometimes you get some really, really annoying patterns. It looks like all the enemies played nice for both Retro and Arcus, so we shouldn't see any costly or odd knockbacks. Maybe we can leave the Twilight Zone and return to a sense of normalcy for at least a little bit as we move into 4-3.
Yeah, this will be our hopefully our respite. But you know what? I'm not going to let my guard down at this point based on everything what we've seen so far. But we had a perfect sync there for a little while in the beginning of 4-1, which is really awesome to see. It's just really super satisfying to see two players just dialed in completely like that, frame for frame basically. And even now, I mean, they're still hot on each other's trail and kind of working together. And a small little hang up there, a back boost here and there. It's just such minor things that we're kind of seeing things just swing back and forth in the process as they make their way to Kelberos and stage 5. I'm really interested to see how this plays out.
So Arcus missed he's out of Ninpo, I guess. He missed the damage boost to get up on that pillar and take the top route, and he had to go over to the right side of that platform and then scale wall climb all the way up the right side and then jump across the gap to the Kelberos fight. So it's an annoying little time loss, not the end of the world, but we can see what both runners were mostly synced up, and now Arcus with just just fell slightly behind.
And I believe that may have been the unmanipulable moment there for Retro Runner. I'm not sure if he missed that one or not, but he tried to go for it, couldn't get it. And now we're basically packed neck to neck again in 5-1, and this is a great race overall. I'm really liking this one, as bizarre as it's sorted out. Seeing them try to kind of get things back on it. They're both going for it. No, we see the Swag Star come out there. That's a double bird boost. The Retro Runner is going to gain a little bit of time there coming into it, and now going to 5-2. I'm curious to see if he's going to go for those ladder climbs here, or if he's going to pass on that.
Yeah, I think he's just got to be, just aware of it. I think that it can be difficult sometimes. And when you're in the heat of the moment, especially in a race scenario, got a little caught up there. But yeah, it can be difficult to, be mindful. You really need to hold true cardinal up on those ladder transitions. Otherwise, you never know where the game is going to spawn you when you come out on the other side. So I think he's just going to stick to his game plan. He's just got to be cognizant.
And that strat right there, I've called this out before. It looks a lot easier than it actually is for those dragon turrets. Very scary. Oh, Arcus not getting the boost, having to go for the up and over there. And, speaking about boost there, Retro Runner and Arcus both getting the bird boost here into 5-3, looking real good.
Nice. Yeah, it's interesting to me that Arcus has opted for the up and over the course of the entire tournament, but I do like it. I don't know that how much time the lemon drop strategy saves exactly, but it is one of, if not the riskiest strat, other than maybe butt clinch cliff. It's a very, very difficult strategy. So I do like that Arcus has opted for the up and over. He's had some unfortunate god hammers throughout the event, which have ended some of his runs, but overall he's had great consistency at finishing runs without deaths or major time loss.
Well, thankfully, hold your breath here, Finn. I dare not even mention at this point any sort of cursing type of things overall. Oh, Arcus having the wherewithal and the understanding. He knew that hammer was coming out and was able to stop. If he would have continued on and went for that ladder clip, he would have run the risk of getting bopped back, actually taken to death. That was a veteran understanding right there in that moment, and it reacted very, very well. Very excellent move there from Arcus, even if it was just a tiny time loss in the process.
Yeah, it was an incredible read and reaction, and like you said, it's just worth at that point. It's not worth risking it, and maybe you think you can hold forward and beat the hammer. Just eat the couple tenths and save your life and save potentially your tournament life. So it was a very, very skillful read by Arcus. Very happy to see him to opt to just react and back up.
I cannot, again, sing the praises enough about being able to pull that read, definitely during a competitive 1-versus-1 race like this, and just be able to know that you go for it. It looks like some issues with the Fab Star there on Retro. Has to spin it back up, loses a touch of time, but not too bad overall. We still have a heck of a race here going into 6-2. The Bizarro world seems to have subsided, as you have predicted there, Finn, and we're kind of back within the realm of normalcy, but still very heavy execution required, very high stress moments, and some very, very worrisome moments we're going to see here as well, as we're getting the stream kind of sorted back out, it looks like, but we'll see how things play out toward the end. Again, we have admins watching the streams on both sides, but we'll get a confirmation on the times at the end. So there was a small bit of lag there. We did see that as well. Let's stream just. We'll get through this.
So Retro Runner moving into the exit boost, he gets it, takes the safe play. No, but neither runner going for the egg spinny strategy. But yeah, Arcus just ever so slightly behind the Retro Runner as both runners enter 6-3. And I don't like Arcus's odds, if I'm being honest. Based on the boss kills we've seen from him so far in this best of 5, if Retro can kind of do his thing and put up a pretty standard ball, I like our odds of potentially moving into a game 5 here.
Very possible. I think that the 2 victories that Arcus has had, he was substantially ahead going into the boss room. So if he's even with Retro Runner, and you say the best boss kills in the business, does not bode well. And we'll see how things work out. They're both on the final screen. They're on the same screen together, which is nice. Retro Runner having to do a slight modification to the Beerful. And Arcus taking the safe strat. So again, going into the room second to Retro. We'll see how this pans out here. And we have a chance at a game 5 right here on the table.
Yeah, I really admire Arcus's dedication to his race strategy selection. You know, still opting for the flip flop there, even when he's paired up against the retro runner. Really like that commitment.
And once again, getting very close to a plate kill, but still very fast. Let's see how Arcus.
Ooh, Arcus, you got one. Let's go.
Look at this.
That's nice. That might put him back in it. This is gonna be very, very close.
Here we go. Now, what's gonna happen with this 2-jump kill? Arcus having to get a 4-jump head kill, opening up a chance for Retro to get the kill. We're going to game 5, Finn. We're going to game 5. This is what we wanted. What a race throughout. Just weird moments there. A wonderful kill for Arcus to pull it back to a demon. This is hype. I'm feeling good about this one.
Yeah, really, 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 really good to see Arcus take a plate kill there. You know, and it almost brought him back in it. Retro had, you know, kind of a sketchy demon pattern there. Took a couple knockbacks from the tail and the shrimp, but, you know, that mash, he was just able to bring it home. Very excited to see us going into a game 5. And, you know, seeing a plate kill from Arcus moving into game 5 of the 3rd place match is, I think that's a good sign. I think that's where he wants to be. If your hands are working that well, you know, at this time of night after playing for this many hours, that's a good sign for him moving into our game 5.
Okay, so final times that we're seeing here, according to the admins. Again, we did have some of those lag moments that came up, but listen to this, folks. Retro Runner, 11:52. Arcus, 11:58. Both getting sub 12s on that one. Fantastic run from both.
Yeah, very, very, very close. Once again, kind of coming down to that final boss interaction. Arcus having an incredible plate kill that I don't know if we've seen from him yet in the tournament. And Retro Runner just, I think, 2 health shy. So Arcus getting a nice little time advantage as we moved into the demon. But, you know, Retro Runner's lead a little too sizable at that point, and he brought it home with a really nice mash on the demon heart. And if I'm being honest, Retrophile, I don't know that I can pick who's going to win here. If I had to bet money, I would just take my money. I take my ball and I would go home because I don't think I'm going to win. Feels very much like a 50-50, and I'm very excited and anxious moving into game 5.
This is the one that we've hoped for. It all comes down to this, and no matter what happens here, Finn, no matter what happens, and even though that this is it's not the grand final, it is the 3rd place match. So we have more action for you guys here. For anyone that may be joining us here on this one, this is best of 5. And we will have the grand final after this. This is going to be a good one, no matter who wins. Nothing but respect to both of the runners, putting on one heck of a show for us. This has been a really great time.
Look at this. Retro Runner is practicing the plate kill in 1-1. It's incredible.
Yeah, look at that. It is those motions, and also that one single slash to take care of the fireball. Yep, that's something to kind of dial it in. He wants to make sure. He's always been like 1 slash away tonight. He wants to have it happen. Arcus pulling the play kill out of nowhere. That kind of blew my mind. It was crazy to see that reversal. So truly, that was the Bizarro round. Just some nutty things happening in that one that just seemed very strange and odd.
Yeah, it was very strange. Both runners making a lot of uncharacteristic mistakes. Honestly, for any runner, I think, you know, we saw Arcus kind of get hung up on multiple enemies in stage 1-1, which, you know, not a sizable time loss by any stretch, but just very, very uncharacteristic. Very, you know, what we called Twilight Zone. I would love to see a game 5 where both of them are just playing at their absolute best, just, you know, ripping through the stages. I want to see, you know, no knockbacks. I want to see standard kill. I want to see, you know, everybody just pulling out all the stops. And I know that Arcus is going to stick to his consistent, safe race strat selection, which I very much respect. I hope that he can execute it, you know, to the absolute top level, and that we get, you know, one more time, just take me back to, you know, basically a photo finish at the Act 6 boss doors, and, you know, let us just watch from there.
Well, we'll see if the Ninja Gaiden gods are with us on this one, hoping for a clean run throughout, just excellent execution, and seeing those two. And you know what, again, if this was a pay-per-view wrestling match, you know, both arms would be raised at the end of this one. That is for absolute certain.
See what our runners are up to, if we are ready to go. think we might have to rebuild the race room.
So bear with us here, folks, as we kind of go through. Just to answer some questions in chat here. Again, best of 5, working our way through with this Arcus and Retro Runner here. This is for 3rd place to decide the NRL Championship Finals here that we're going to have happen here. Following this match will be Knucklebuster versus Beerful of Belly. And that will be another best of 5. So still plenty of Ninja Gaiden left to go for this evening. So definitely keep it here, folks, for this one. And that one is for all of it to carve their name into history on this one. But nonetheless, we're about to get set up for this one. We'll get things taken care of. And away we go here, Finn. Here we are, game 5. Very excited for this one.
Yeah, this is game 5 between the 2 runners that I wanted to see it between. Like I've said before, not quite in the fashion that everyone expected, but still very happy that we're getting to see it. I know Retro Runner has had a very long day today. He, admitted that he was very tired, and I think that, he's kind of using all of the gas that's left in the tank at this point to give the people what they want to see. And the man is certainly a man of the people. He loves to entertain. He loves this game and this community very much. And I'm very happy that he's, stuck it out to give the people the matchup that we've honestly all been waiting for. I don't know if we've gotten to see these two, head to head in this fashion. I think this is the first time.
And it's one for the ages and has not disappointed by any means here. Glad to see it as we wrap up stage 1 there, and definitely no problems going into stage 2. I'm very hopeful and holding my breath here, Finn, throughout this entire thing on the edge of my seat and hoping for the best, that things are clean and pristine and we take this to the end and we can all feel really good about this at the end as well. So, but so far, this has been truly magical to watch unfold.
Yeah, both runners basically synced up at this point, and I hope that continues. We see both runners nail the giddy up. Retro Runner gotten a little hung up there previously. I like when we see runners clean up a mistake from the race just prior. It means that they're being mindful of those interactions, taking notes, and executing in a clean fashion. If we continue to see people make the same mistake over and over again, I don't think that bodes well for their mentality or their execution moving forward.
That synchronized ending to 2-1 was very beautiful. Seeing the bounce house together, that area is deceptively difficult to actually do optimally, and seeing both of them kind of hit that, back and forth is very, very good. And also looks like Arcus having the better drop on that one versus Retro Runner kind of getting stuck for a second. So Arcus with a minor lead here in 2-2 so far.
Yeah, Arcus movement's been a little more clean on this stage. Both runners getting the optimal forward bat boost, though, and clean hammer bro patterns so far. Both pick up the spin slash again. Going to be maneuvering through the last part of 2-2 before the boss. Ooh, Arcus catches a forward knock there. Not the end of the world by any means. Actually still has a very tiny lead over the Retro Runner as we move into the Act 2 boss fight.
Yep, thankfully on that one, not really impeding the race too much. The forward boost, it was just kind of like a how do you do as you kind of go by. It's a very aggressive high five by a posthumous high five from the mummy there. But
yeah, a pat on the back, if you will.
Yeah, so that we've come this far. Ooh, unfortunately getting a knockback there, opening the door for Retro Runner to get forward, it looks like.
Yeah, I've seen this now a few times so far in this match from Arcus, where he's had these missed slashes on what I would consider, that enemy can be problematic at times. But yeah, he's had some missed slashes on enemies that I would consider mostly free. And you have to wonder if all the Ninja Gaiden 2, the different sword hitbox, the different enemy hitboxes, if maybe it's messing with his Ninja Gaiden 1 just a tiny bit.
It could be some slight movements like that, but again, you know more than I do, or as much as I do here. Oh, looks like Arc is taking the lead again with some just a little bit better execution, and Retro are getting some problems there with the ladder and the hammer bro. But I mean, he's had a chance to kind of dial himself back into this here. Definitely, he's still running really, really well. Maybe some minor things, but that the sword just is it's not exactly friendly by any means. It can happen at any time.
So we see, Arcus got that lead in that stage, and just as quick as he had it, he lost it. Once again, opting for that very, very safe 3-2 butt clinch cliff strategy. And the time that he had gained through optimal execution, he just gave it right back. I think that has been my biggest qualm with Arcus's race strategy selection throughout the event, I think he's leaving too much time on the table with his butt clinch cliff strategy. I don't want to see the actual butt clinch cliff, but I would have loved to see just jump at the edge, slash the bird in the air, take a forward boost off of the enemy on the other side. I think that's a relatively safe strategy because I think he's giving about a second to a second and a half away for free at this point.
I will argue against that, and only because if you go back and look at that clip where Arcus fell on that, if he had not waited, he would have gotten the back boost there if he would have missed the bird on that, because where he actually landed, he did a standing slash once he's there. Lost a little more time in the process, but I think if he would have done the same exact jump trajectory, you have to jump at the very edge of that. It's still, even though we call it the safe strat, it's still a pretty tight jump toward the end. It really is. Just like the standard kill that follows it, it's still tough.
Yeah. Standard and safe, etc., are kind of misnomers when it comes to Ninja Gaiden speedruns. Nothing is free in this game. Nothing is standard or safe. Everything's incredibly difficult. All the enemies are hell bent on killing you. So yeah, I think those terms are a little bit disingenuous, but it is the terminology that we have come up with, for better or worse.
Yes. No one and nothing is ever safe when you're playing Ninja Gaiden. That's kind of the rule of things, hands down.
Yeah.
Not even
the yeah, I was about to say, not even the controller, not even the system.
We've seen it. Everything can be taken asunder by Ninja Gaiden. It has become death, destroyer of worlds. But here we are in 4-3, and we're going to see these back-to-back bullet boosts. Very, very nicely done on the same screen. We're having a very nice time here going into stage 5, the latter part of the game coming up. Both of them getting the boost there. Arcus had a problem with that last time, but able to dial it in this time. Very, very good.
Yeah, Retro Runner. So typically Retro Runner is going to gain just a teeny bit of time over Arcus in 4-3. Retro goes for what we call like a ham strategy. There's a Hammer Bro there on the last screen that can occasionally troll you with a bad pattern. Retro just kind of, crosses his fingers and tries to spin through. Arcus will opt for some slash cancels throughout the stage. I think 2 or 3 slash cancels to preserve Nimpo. So he has spin slash for that Hammer Bro. But those slash cancels, you actually have to stop your forward momentum. You cannot be holding forward on the D-pad. You actually can only be pressing down and B. So when you do that, you lose your forward momentum, if only ever so slightly. But so every slash cancel, you're going to be giving up, a 10th here, a 10th there. And do that a few times over the course of the stage, it adds up. Speaking of adding up, we see Arcus get knocked back by that bird there and lose 3 points of health, which is going to be unfortunate because he's going to need it as he moves into 5-2.
Especially if he goes for other things. I expect him to take the medicine then toward the end of 5-2. At this point, I would be very surprised if he tried to skip that. But still, look at where we are now. Look at this. Wait a minute. We are pretty much synced up. I'm curious to see what's going to happen here with this overall, but we do see that Retro Runner has the life lead here going into this section, where Arcus is probably going to have to grab that medicine, like I said, to try to get that buffer back together, but we will see.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if Retro goes for his for the lemon drop strategy that we've seen him go for previously here. He does. Nice, and it looks very clean.
Yes, very, very fast lemon drop on that one. He just basically just chugged it.
Arcus missed the 10 Ninpo at the end of 4-2, so he's going to be a little dry for this stage. Probably going to have to weave in some additional slash cancels here and there, just adjust his routing just ever so slightly. And like I said previously, those slash cancels, you do lose your forward momentum, and that 10th of a second here and there can add up.
And he had a Stanley slash there against the first Hammer Brother there. Just basically, I think he probably read the pattern a little bit, and then he did the normal spin slash strategies against the rest of the Jetpack Ninjas. SP boost from both of them. This is still looking really good on both sides.
Yeah. I mean, Arcus really held it together. Recognized, okay, I missed the Nimpo, not the end of the world. I know I need to, weave in some slash cancels to the remainder of the stage, but we can see he's already, wonderfully navigated that situation.
Very good from both runners here. Clean through 5-3, regardless of what the game threw at them, and Molth goes down. And here we are, Finn. Game 5, Act 6, all tied up and ready to go. And I can't wait to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, I would say TRR maybe 3 to 4 seconds ahead. Very, very close. And once again, as we've seen previously in Act 6, and especially on the final bosses, 3 or 4 seconds doesn't really mean anything. That can be gained with something as simple as getting a plate kill on Jackio. So very much still anybody's race here, and this is exactly the kind of race that I was hoping for in a game 5 between these two runners.
I like how Ninja Gaiden terminology has infected you now, and now you're throwing out the word simple very nonchalantly.
Yeah, Retro Runner having some issues with his Fab G star again. Arcus opting to throw another star there for safety purposes. Both runners maneuvering expertly through the jetpack ninjas. That screen is arguably one of the most difficult in the game. Very easy to get hung up at several different instances. So I'm very happy to see both runners move through cleanly. And this moving into this long ladder, let's see, Retro. Not bad. Oh, Arcus, yeah, missed the ladder transition. That's going to be a pretty sizable time loss, actually.
That one hurts momentum, and we were talking about this. Arcus seems to have done best when he's ahead, favorable going into the boss rooms there, because he can't really trust his kills on Jackie. We've seen him get stuck for a little while, and he's opted to go for the demon kills with the tail. But at this point, you got to know it's all or nothing. Game 5, go in, do everything the best as you possibly can. But Retro right now, just charging ahead, just from a small difference there. That jump is very tight. Also getting stuck and not getting up there, but a good backup from Arcus there to get on top there with that boost.
Yeah, it's very, very close. But like you said, I don't like Arcus's positioning. If I'm being honest, it's rough. From what we've seen so far, the ones that Arcus has been able to take down, they've been really narrow margins, and Retro Runner has had a death. Retro Runner's boss fights have just been, more consistently impressive. So I think we're going to need to see something interesting here as Retro Runner maneuvers in. Oh, I wonder if he's watching. It doesn't go for the beerful there. I've seen him go for the beerful several times. Opts for the very standard, safe flip-flop strategy that we haven't seen from him much this evening. But let's see how he handles Jackio and the demon.
I'm not sure why he would change it now going into game 5, but you know what? Maybe he's feeling good about his odds right now. Let's see. The final 2 to close it out. Retro Runner knocking at the door on putting this away and solidifying himself a spot on the podium. Does not get the plate, was 1 away. Let's see what Arcus can do.
Arcus catches a bad flame there. Not a bad cleanup, but yeah, Retro Runner, he would need to catch a really, really aggressive shrimp pattern. Oh, Retro takes a knockback from the head, takes a knockback from the shrimp. He's getting kind of balled up by the shrimp.
He closes it out, though. Oh, my goodness gracious. I think he was 1 hit from death on that one. Like you said, that was kind of a scary moment. That was a 3-jump head there. He got mash locked. But there it is, folks. Retro Runner and Arcus. Can Arcus get a sub 12 here as well? We'd love to close this out. This is great. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and get the official times here, folks. But it's looking like, from what we can tell here, Retro Runner will be taking this and getting 3rd place against Arcus 3-2.
Yeah, incredible ending to this event. I don't think anyone could have seen this coming. Retro Runner finishing in 3rd, Arcus finishing in 4th. Knucklebuster and Beerful of Belly who? Just incredible to see the 2 best to ever do it, in my opinion, finishing in 3rd and 4th respectively. But I'm so glad that we did get to see it. What an incredible best of 5. GG to both runners. Congratulations to Retro Runner for winning this specific match, but very, very pleased to have been here to both spectate and commentate. Very pleasure to be a part of this whole experience.
Agreed. So here's the thing here, Finn. You ready for these times? The official times as posted by the admins here. Arcus with an excellent 12:04. Retro Runner 11:49 on this one. Fantastic run. A great way to kind of absolve the demons and kind of shake things off there, and a great one to hang his hat on and walk away from. And it looks pretty good. Let's take a gander here at the brackets and see where we stand now. This is the overview of how we've got here, folks. It is confirmed Retro Runner on the podium, getting himself that 3rd place finish. Arcus in 4th, but we're not done yet. The NRL Championship match is coming up here. It's going to be Knucklebuster versus Beerful of Belly. Another best of 5, another amazing moments. And this is where I say my goodbyes and my best of to those involved, and a thank you, a solemn thank you to everyone here for coming out and making NRL so special. Thank you, Perfect Finn, for your time tonight. But I'll be leaving the booth. I believe you'll be joined by Fabricator General here after the break once we get things set up here. And Fab and Finn will be your commentary staffing for the finals here. But Finn, absolutely a pleasure, and good luck here, and to the runners here. Let's have a great final race.
Yeah, thank you so much, Retrophile. But like Retrophile said, we are going to take a short break as we let our runners ready up for the grand finals, and we will be right back with you.